Hello, beautiful human, and welcome back to the Health Habit Podcast. This month, we have been exploring gut health and digestion as a foundation for whole body wellness. Not just how digestion works, but how it influences energy, mood, mental clarity, and consistency in your everyday life. Today, we're talking about a major hidden obstacle in modern nutrition: hyperpalatable foods. This is a concept that we've discussed on the Health Habit Podcast before, but today we're going to exclusively talk about it as it relates to gut health and digestion. And right off the bat, I just want to say that eating ultra-processed, hyperpalatable foods once in a while is not the problem. Enjoying holiday meals and all the desserts associated with it is not going to destroy your gut. What matters is frequency. So in this episode, we're exploring how consistently relying on hyperpalatable, ultra-processed foods can quietly disrupt digestion and gut balance over time. This conversation is not meant to bring fear and restriction into your life. It is simply to help you understand what is happening in your body so you can more consistently nourish your digestive system in a way that works with your physiology. If your wellness journey has you stuck in a cycle of overwhelm and inconsistency, it's time to lean in. Together, we are unlocking the confidence and clarity to make your health feel like a peaceful return home. Welcome to the Health Habit Podcast. I'm Maria, a nature-loving herbalist, science-obsessed nutrition therapy practitioner, and your guide to holistic
If
healing.
our recent conversations
If you're ready
about
for
gut health
realistic
and
routines
digestion have
that
helped
bring
you to
more
think
presence
about
and
food,
fulfillment into your
consistency
life,
in your
then
body
brew up some
in
tea
new
or
and
crack
more
open a
empowering
kombucha
way.
and let's get
If
into
you're
it.
feeling excited about creating a nutrition plan that supports not just your gut, but also your mental and emotional well-being, then I want to invite you into wellness consistency coaching. This is a natural next step for women who are committed to building a wellness lifestyle that feels fulfilling for the long term. Inside Wellness Consistency Coaching, we co-create a gut-supportive, food-first nutrition plan that fits your real life, your schedule, your preferences, and your unique needs. Instead of overhauling everything and burning out, we focus on intentional, sustainable change that builds confidence, clarity, and long-term consistency. If you're ready to stop guessing and start feeling grounded in how you nourish yourself, I would love to support you. Head over to thehealthhabit.net/services and snag access to wellness consistency coaching. Again, that is thehealthhabit.net/services. Now, when we talk about hyperpalatable foods, today's beautiful gut health topic, we're talking about foods that are ultra processed and engineered to be extremely rewarding to the brain. These foods usually combine fat, sugar, and salt in very specific ratios that make them nearly impossible to stop eating. Not because you lack discipline, but because they are designed to override our natural hunger and fullness cues. I've gone much deeper into the brain and nervous system side of hyperpalatability in episodes 24 and 26. So today I'm focusing just on what we missed in that conversation as it relates to the gut. But if you are interested in learning more, go listen to episode 24 and episode 26. If you are trying to build your gut health, pause me right now, grab your phone or notepad because you are going to want to write this down. Your gut thrives on 3 key things: consistent, high-quality nourishment, microbiome diversity, and foods or herbs that support the health and integrity of your gut lining. When hyperpalatable, ultra-processed foods show up occasionally, your body can handle that generally. You might feel a little bit bloated or heavy after eating these kinds of foods, but then things will rebalance. But when these foods make up a large portion of your regular diet, which is very common in the Western world, subtle shifts begin to happen. First, these foods tend to crowd out the fiber-rich whole foods, the very foods that feed your gut microbiome, build that diversity that your gut and your entire body craves. Fiber is one of the primary fuels for the beneficial gut bacteria that make up your microbiome. So when that fiber intake drops, those bacteria can struggle to thrive. And it's important to note that most of these complex plant fibers are not digestible by our body. So they're providing food to these bacteria and really only providing us benefit in return. We can't do anything with the complex plant fibers, but the microbes eat them. They release energy sources, they release beneficial compounds that literally just helps us to thrive. But when fiber intake is low, they have to start eating more proteins and fats, which we can utilize for our own body function. So it's important for us to maintain that for ourselves. And some of the microbe species, instead of eating proteins and fats instead of fiber, will then start eating the mucus that is secreted by and part of our gut lining. And this obviously thins the mucous barrier, creates more inflammation in our gut, and makes us much more vulnerable to pathogens. So something we would very much like to avoid. The second thing that shifts is that many ultra-processed foods contain additives that the gut did not evolve alongside. So over time, frequently exposing our guts to these emulsifiers or artificial sweeteners and other food compounds can disrupt gut homeostasis. This can thin the protective gut linings, specifically the mucus layer that we were just discussing. So there are two separate mechanisms that can degrade the quality of our gut lining by decreasing the amount of protective mucus within the digestive tract. This low fiber, additive rich environment can also shift the microbiome towards more pro-inflammatory bacteria. So bacteria that can literally cause inflammation within the gut and make the gut lining even more vulnerable. Now, this does not happen overnight, and it does not happen from one meal. So I really want to drill that you do not need to completely and obsessively restrict yourself from these foods. It is just important that they do not make up majority of what you're eating in your day-to-day life. The gut and your body in general is so resilient if you can support it consistently. The issue isn't flexibility, it is frequency. Now, here's where things start to really matter in everyday life. When your gut microbiome becomes less diverse or more inflamed, digestion often feels harder. You might notice bloating and sluggish digestion, more of those gross symptoms, or just a general sense of heaviness. And over time, satiety signals, your hunger signals, can become less reliable. So when we don't feel satisfied, we can very easily overeat. Satiety signals tell your body, I've had enough food, and allow us to put down the fork and knife. But if we don't have strong satiety signals, that becomes a lot more difficult. And then we can ultimately have more cravings and just difficulty with our relationship with food, especially in regards to the quick energy, high reward foods, which hyperpalatable foods very much are. They are created to be this. This creates a quiet feedback loop. So you have fewer whole foods, so less fiber in your diet. Less fiber weakens the microbiome. Then you get weaker gut signaling, and it can make your cravings much more loud. Louder cravings make consistency feel even harder, and then the wheel goes round and round, and you become more and more reliant and more craving of these hyperpalatable foods. And suddenly it feels like you're doing something wrong, even if you genuinely care about your health and you know what you should be eating. It feels like something is off. And this is why I talk so much about systems over perfection. When your consistency feels hard, it is not a personal flaw. It's often a sign that your physiology and your environment are working against you. And in fact, majority, like 95% of our food choices are subconscious. When your gut health is supported most of the time with simple, nourishing meals, flexibility becomes easier, enjoying desserts with your friends doesn't derail your digestion, a holiday meal doesn't spiral into days of discomfort, your body has natural resilience. This is also why restriction backfires. Tight food rules don't heal the gut, they increase stress, and stress alone disrupts digestion. So at the end of the day, gut health is really about creating an environment that makes nourishing choices feel more natural, more convenient, rather than forced. Today, I don't want to give you an action item. I don't want to give you a protocol to follow or anything like that. Instead, I want to invite you into more awareness without judgment. So over the next week or two, as things wind down and this holiday season comes to an end, I simply ask that you notice how often ultra-processed or hypopalatable foods show up in your day-to-day life. And then how your digestion feels after you consume these kinds of food. Whether cravings increase or decrease, and whether your satisfaction feels higher or lower. How that compares to days where meals are more whole food based and more consistent. We're not going to focus on eliminating or restricting or moralizing our food choices. We are just collecting data by building our awareness, because awareness alone is such a powerful tool. When you understand how your body responds to the choices you make, behavior can often shift much more naturally without the pressure, the willpower, and the force. And this awareness is foundational for consistency. You cannot build sustainable habits without first understanding what's influencing your body beneath the surface. Hyperpalatable foods aren't the enemy, but they are part of the reason why gut health and consistency can feel so challenging in our modern world. When you understand this, you can stop blaming yourself, you can stop chasing perfection and start building habits that actually work with your body. And that's how real lasting change begins. And my love, you do not need to go on that journey by yourself. There is an open invitation for you to get the support, the clarity, and the accountability you need to create real lasting change in your health and in your life within the Wellness Consistency Coaching Program. And on that note, if this conversation helped you feel empowered with practical knowledge, please share it with a friend that's also looking to improve their health and life, and take a few moments to leave an honest review on Apple Podcast. It helps this podcast grow, and it just fuels my soul to read your beautiful reviews. I will see you all next week in 2026. I hope you have such a beautiful end to the year that is 2025. Let's start 2026 the strongest and most capable that we've ever been. Goodbye, my friends.